whole lot more to say after some wonderful presentations. I want to thank Moss for those thoughts. If you weren't here for the first session, it was on global warming, and if you came here for that session, well, we can talk to Moss after, because he threw in this one about breathing. I suppose the thought that came to me was fearfully and wonderfully made, but that's not enough. Pastor Vic was talking about we have an expiry date. It was never meant to be. It wasn't designed that way, I don't think, when Adam and Eve were on the planet, but they messed it up. And here we are, trying to mop it up, but the Lord's done it for us. And if you are new here and you don't know much about who we are, Moss has given you a good rundown on who we are as human beings. You know, God's wonderful creation in us, just in the planet in general. But as I said, it's not enough. You've got to be born again. And the beauty of it, I suppose, also, when I said this, watching and listening to Moss go through that, is that there's not much you need to do. Because when God made you and made me and made the planet, He didn't need anybody to help. And one of the thoughts I had, came from Isaiah. I'll just read out a few of the things here where the Lord actually sort of threw out a bit of his resume, I guess, in one sense, and he goes, who's measured the waters in the hollow of his hand and meted out heaven with a span and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure and weighed the mountain in scales and the hills in a balance? Who has directed the Spirit of the Lord, being his counsellor, and has taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him? And who taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and showed to him the way of understanding? And so what Isaiah's really saying here through the Lord is, well, he didn't need anybody. And probably pretty well, just as well, because we would have messed it up. We had thrown in our 2 cents worth, and we would have had the nose upside down, as Pastor Lloyd say, pointing upwards, we'd all drown. But it's just like, so if you think that, you're feeling a little bit, I can't do it myself, well, that's the beauty of the Lord. He's actually in control. He's in control of everything. When we saw about global warming, the Lord's in control. He knows exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and He'll do what He needs to do what He wants to do. And that's the beauty of it. All we're asked to do is to follow what He's already laid down for us. And so obviously most of us here are Spirit-filled, so the message to us, being Spirit-filled, is maintain that walk, all the people said, because many things come upon us, particularly in this age, and we start to talk ourselves out of it. Or we start to look maybe even too deeply and to bring out things which aren't worthy of being brought out, or whatever it might be. And if we keep the simplicity of our experience and live in that experience and move in that experience, well, really, it's meant to be pretty easy. Because He's done it all, and He did it all on His own. The other thing I'll just read out is like when the Lord Jesus Christ came, and this is where God does need us in one sense. The Lord said this, when Pilate asked Him, you're a king, and Jesus said, "Thou sayest that I am a king, to this end I was born, and for this cause I came into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth hears my voice." And in the first one today I was thinking about, the cause, people, very sincere, well-meaning people just grab hold of some of the things they think aren't working too well on the planet, and whether they're right or wrong, in their sincerity takes them into a cause, doesn't it? And I was trying to think of, well, if we had a time machine and we could take a busload of those people back to the days of Noah and say to them, look, this guy's building a boat because pretty soon this part of the world here is going to be flooded. What do you think about that? And you know what they'd probably do? Get out their banners and go, no flood, stop the flood, stop the flood. Because they try and save the planet. But the Lord brought the flood. And even though the Lord destroyed that part of the world, we don't believe it was the entire globe, if any new people are here, then He fixed it. Because the waters abated, and they walked out on dry ground, and whatever was destroyed would have been restored, no doubt. Well, I'll have to give us a lot of details. We've got to assume something happened to put it back on track again. And so that's why I said at the start, the Lord's in control. And He didn't need us. But thankfully, we need Him, and He's there for us. Absolutely 100%. And once we come to Him on His terms, then boy, do we have a cause. And it's the cause that His Son came to do. To preach the truth. And to reflect the truth. And to live by the truth. And let nothing take away a minute % of the truth in your life. Nothing. because it has to be the whole truth for the Lord to come back with and to. And so, look, if you are some visitors here, you've heard some interesting things, and they're packaged in a really nice way to try and, get a bit of attention, I suppose. But in the end, the bottom line simply is, the Lord's prescribed a way. Most people in this room have followed that path, and we're going to continue to follow that path. And if you feel like you need to know a bit more information about that, well, come down and see me, see Moss Murray, see Malcolm, Pastor Vic, anyone probably sitting next to you to tell you what I can tell you, that God's to find a way. It's easy to find it if you're willing to just have a go at it. And then once you have that, you'll put all things in perspective. So I'll hand back now to Malcolm, because he's got a few little announcements, I believe. Thanks, Malcolm. Oh, great for the Sunshine Coast. Most of us are here anyway.